Welcome to FMA Talk Live. I'm your host, Datu Tim. It's my wonderful co-host.
Hey, PG Taz here. Welcome, everyone.
And the guy who is sandwiched in between this two slices of white bread, Will Hartke. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good.
All right. So Will is told us that he's going to be very boring, straight-faced. Hi, how are you doing? So he's not an android. He's not AI. I don't know if there's any intelligence there. No.
So you're on the road right now, or are you local in Buffalo there?
No, I'm finally home for a while.
There you go. And Ben says hello.
Hey, Ben.
So as usual, as you log in, tell us what part of the world you're logging in from.
I think Ben is still in Texas, if I remember right.
Yep. It's more for everyone who's watching each time, not that we forget where people are from.
That's right.
Sometimes
not everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so Ben there is one of my old students from way back in Texas. So this was decades ago. and he's been pretty regular recently. It's nice. He's had some good ideas for the show and whatnot. So
Yes. Lots of things happening. I'm going to talk about a couple things as we get a few more people online. Did a seminar this weekend at a local Taekwondo school. Yep, Texas it is. 65 people on a Saturday.
Nice.
For Master Ketchin's Martial Arts Academy.
Is that an all-day one or X number
just
of
3
hours?
hours? 3 hours.
3 hours. Okay.
And then Jason Arnold, what's up?
PG
I'm going to
Jason.
see Jason this weekend. He and I are with others going to be down in Ohio. Oh, Las Vegas Combat Arts Academy. Hello,
Nice.
Coach Donovan.
Who's Blue Man?
Who's a blue? Oh, I'm still working on it. Who's Blue Man?
Rob Guida asked who is Blue Man. I think he knows.
That's Will Hartke.
Yep.
He's the guy that was dressed up in armored combat recently. Stuff. Originally from Central New York. So he's by Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Sometimes I have good retention. Sometimes. Then there's the other times. So the show is about Will. Will's going to talk to us about it's not the Armored Combat League. You've fought in Armored Combat stuff, part of which was the Armored Combat League, right?
I don't know if I actually fought in the Armored Combat League. That was pre-COVID, I believe. And labels with the teams and the organizations get a little iffy with me. I just show up when they tell me to show up.
So there was this thing called the Armored Combat League, and then I thought you were with the Blue Man Group. Yeah, okay. And yes, I was right. Okay. The Blue Man Group doesn't wield swords, at least not yet. And if they did, they'll recruit Will. But so Armored Combat League was made by an acquaintance of mine, or he's one of the founding members, where they did the SCA, which is the Society of Creative Anachronism. And there's all this stuff that goes with it that some people are just not down with, because you are basically cosplaying to be knights in armor and you fight each other with rattan weapons, not metal ones. The fencers used metal weapons, and that used to tick off the heavy arms guys that just used rattan, which I thought was hilarious. You wire weenies? Yeah, we're the only ones using real steel, so shut up. So, yes, I was a fencer. So then the guys, whether he was the originator or part of the original group, wanted to get more into the fighting and less about all of the other stuff with it. There's too much pomp and circumstance at times. Some of these people, like if you ever saw the TV show Role Models, the movie, they weren't throwing magic fireballs at each other, but they would go out in public dressed up and forget about that it was a game and not reality. So the fighters, they just sat there, I just want to come and do this type of combat and fight. And then they leveled up where they actually, probably more accurate period-wise, where they beat the crap out of each other, punching, kicking, and all this stuff. And there was born the Armored Combat League. From there, some things went in different directions. And Will has, whether he's been in the Armored Combat League, he's definitely fought members of the Armored Combat League and stuff like that. So let me just get caught up with these people. Then I have PG Ty take point on this. Eric, greetings from Portland. All right, and then Matt. Okay, Matt Jones is our local heckler from the Philippines.
Miss Lapada.
We're still gonna have to figure out how to pronounce your name.
Right, jelly meat. That's what I'm gonna say.
Jelly meat.
And
if you have a nickname, because generally they all have like 3 or 5 nicknames, so you know. Guida, thanks for laughing, Ty. You get me, yeah. Rev, brother man from the Philippines, another person.
Nice.
And then Ben used to fence the Empire State Games, also did some local SCA, different experiences. Definitely. Not tonight, Tim. You're not in my heckler tonight. Listen, I went in the SCA because I was looking at fencing, because I wanted to see how fencing could affect what we do, because the Spaniards occupied the Philippines for such a long period of time. Yes, they did have firearms, but they also fought with swords. And I think, just as a point of reference, I don't think the Filipinos, all their stuff comes from the Europeans, as some people try to say. What I think is some of the fighting styles were influenced by the Philippines. The Espada Daga, I think that is something that the Filipinos saw that the Europeans were using, and they say, well, if it's working for them, let's see if it works for us. I think I wouldn't be surprised. That's the phrase I'm using. When it looks to the karambit, the Filipinos, or not the karambit, the Kris, you look at the Indonesian and Malay versions, they're very, very thin and much more curvy at times, where the Filipino ones are they're beefier and have more girth to them. So I wouldn't be surprised if they saw it and they just made it bigger and better in their minds. Okay, here we go from Canada. Mike, how you doing? And then from Stewart, Virginia, David, always pleasure. George, favorite SCA activity. There we go. George and I. George is one of my black belts, who I just saw the other day, popped into school out of nowhere, and he's been throwing axes lately. Not at me. So that's a good thing. And he knew the founder, and George taught me, influenced my fencing, and then I taught him stick work, and it was great. Best friends ever since. Craig Mason, another good friend of ours.
G. Craig.
Okay, here we go.
Chile.
Would it be Chile with like a J?
I think so. Chile or Galai. Chile. I don't know.
Well, here we go. Option 1 is what? Ty?
Option 1, Chile, and then option 2, Galai. I don't know.
And if we're not even close,
phonetic it out for us.
Just you know.
Might just call her G.
Yo, G. All right. So, with no further ado, I'm going to turn the point of this over to Mr. Ty to ask some questions.
I know
more about what's going on, so I'd rather have less what's going on.
I got a couple questions, and we'll see how well I can keep going to this. And Will may just go, yes, no. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we're the entertaining. Will's just going to be informative.
There you go. Well, actually, this one's not a yes or no question. The first one is obviously, I think it would be good for people to know background. So I would like you to sort of, if you don't mind, sharing some of your, martial arts background, because there's a reason that we know you and the reason that we respect what you do. But people may not know some of your background. So if you don't mind talking about yourself a little bit, just sort of, can you share some of the things you've done, even if it's a little bit, you think it influenced where you're coming from in what you do now? I think it might be interesting for folks.
Oh, for sure. Let's see. So I started martial arts as an adult. So I was 20 years old. It was April 2010. I started Krav Maga at a local school here. Did Muay Thai at the same school. A couple years after that, I ended up getting my second degree black belt in Krav at that school. Been doing Muay Thai pretty much ever since, like on my own with different instructors. I'm currently doing it at another local school with an ex-UFC fighter that trains there, Felipe Silva. He's a really good coach. It's helped me a lot. While I was doing the Krav and the Muay Thai, I found out about the KFM, which is the Keysi fighting method, which is what they used for the Christopher Nolan Batman movies. I hooked up with John Lebo in New York City. He was the first person outside of either Spain or the UK, I forget where they were doing it specifically at that point, to be able to teach instructors in the United States. So he encouraged me to come down. I slept in my truck. We beat the crap out of each other for 3 days, and I went down there every couple months for like 4 years, and just trained intensely with that system. I love that system. It's one of my favorite things. It eventually went from the Keysi fighting method over to Defense Lab, and I trained with Andy Norman and those guys every time they were in town as much as I could. I opened my own school. We did a lot of kettlebells and different fitness things that I was certified through On It at the time, and a bunch of other certifications. You know, when you're doing fitness, you just keep getting certifications to try and build your rep. But we did a lot of kettlebells and maces and hammers and things like that, as long as bodyweight training and things like that. We also taught the Defense Lab curriculum and some of the KFM curriculum, and mixed in a little Krav, a little Muay Thai, did some boxing classes, a little bit of Filipino arts once I got involved with that. I believe Tim found my name when he was in Italy with Andy. I want to say that was it.
Well, that was the gen. So I was in Italy. Carl and I were there. We were teaching at the Kali Silat, or Kali Sikran at the time, but the KSE camp, which Jeff Espino, the late Jeff Espino, and it was also during the GSBA World Championships in Rome. So I said, hey, you know what? This is great. We could go check out the worlds in another country as well as teach. And that's where I met Andy. And then when I came home, I found, I don't know if I knew ahead of time. I probably knew ahead of time about DL, but definitely, I think it was after, I think I did a research going over there, and then I came back, and then I looked up the directory and I found you, and well, the rest is history.
Yeah, my first event with you was your 50th birthday camp, I believe. So we've known each other quite a while. But yeah, so I started training with you, developing some things, mixing in, seeing what overlapped with the Filipino stuff and the DL and KFM and Krav, and just playing around mostly. And then I was fortunate enough that you guys enjoyed my training so much that you got me a spot at the symposium in Massachusetts with Terry Dow and Superfoot Wallace. And that's where I met Jay Brooks for the first time. I want to say it was 2017. It was either 2016 or 2017, but I did two of them with him, so I'm going with 17 because it's in the middle. But I met him there. I did his seminar. We talked a lot, and that's when I was introduced to armored combat. That was the first time I ever heard of it or knew about it. And I was interested. He knew I was interested. And then the second time, the next year, when I was also very fortunate to be invited back, me and Jay talked some more, and I actually was goofing around because, well, it was the after party there in the, what was it, the dining hall. Mm-hmm. You know, I think some of the guys, they were doing a demonstration and they almost went through the wall, which was very exciting. But so I was in my training shorts and t-shirt, and the guy was in armor, and we just started kind of shadow boxing. And I want to say it was Ringo, but I don't think it was. I forget which one it was. But I roundhouse kicked him in the head, and he had a helmet on, and I still have the scar. And I just kept going. And Jay looked at me in the face. He's like, you have to do this sport. Like, you have to do this sport. So the next weekend or next month, something like that, I traveled up to Nashua, and I spent a weekend at the Knights Hall. And I talked to Cap Brooks, and we did some training. And he told me how to get involved and how to get armor and stuff like that. And back then, 2017, 2018, it was miserable trying to get armor if you were not part of a team or anything. Like, you had to contact armors in Europe and figure out PayPal and translations and stuff like that. So, and I had none of this ability. So I was going through the Knights Hall. And then in 2018 is when I moved south. So my martial arts career kind of took a bit of a hiatus while I lived down in Knoxville and Durham. And I still trained a lot, but I was by myself. I found a couple clubs down there, but just nothing really meshed. It wasn't the things I like to do. And then in 2022, I had my accident and I had to move home. So I got hit on my motorcycle. So there was a whole thing with the insurance. I didn't get a lot of money. It was a whole bunch of stuff. But my family and my friends, they all looked at me and was like, dude, you have to take this money, this little bit of money, and go buy some armor. You've been talking about it for 5 years. You just got to go do it. So I contacted Medieval Extreme. I went to a tailor, got all my sizes, sent all my stuff over. As soon as a little bit of the insurance money came in, I paid for it with out of pocket too. And I waited 6 months for my armor. I got my armor Christmas, almost basically Christmas Day in 2023. And my first competition was in March, but we immediately, because me and the guy I trained with mostly, Michael Sloma in Rochester, and the guys out there, we were just all very excited that I had armor. So we're like, let's go to the Knights Hall. So we showed up for their war camp in January, and none of my stuff's set up. Mike's helping me like get it all together. I've never worn it really. And we're fighting in a dark hall, and I do longsword for the first time, and I get whooped. Mike beats me with no glasses or contacts, and I'm dying after 2 minutes. Like, it is miserable, but it was awesome at the same time. Everybody was just so cool. We were doing grappling. I'm not a grappler, so I was getting thrown around by Blade and Xander, who happened to end up being on my team later on. And it was just amazing. So then I just immediately signed up for the tournament that was happening at the last time they had it at the Arnold in Ohio. And I signed up for longsword, sword and shield, and unfortunately I couldn't do melees, which is the 5 versus 5, because I didn't have a team and I was so new. So I signed up, and my very first fight, believe it or not, was with I forget how to say his last name, but Stephen Hatt. I got a picture of it. He's one of the, I believe, owners, or at least he works really hard with the AMMA, which I'm a part of now. So he was my very first fight, and then I lost. He's huge, man, very, very large. And then I won my next fight, and then I lost in sword and shield. I was like, all right, I thought sword and shield was going to be my bread and butter because of the Filipino stuff. And then I went into longsword, and I'm talking to, Mike, and I'm talking to Ringo, and I'm talking to John Hall. And I'm like, I just want to win just one fight. And I go in, and my very first opponent is Ronan. And people who follow the sport know Ronan. Ronan was fresh off of a silver medal in longsword in Prague. He's the current light heavyweight champion in AMMA and just fought with the Armored League. And so he's a legit fighter. And I lost, obviously. But he shook my hand. He was like, oh, you did really well. And then I was like, all right, so I lost one. It was a double elimination. So if I lose again, I'm out. I won 5 more fights. Dying. Like, exhausted. Ringo comes up and he's like, so how many did you win? I was like, 5. And he's like, I thought you just wanted to win 1. I'm like, I don't know. I ended up finishing 4th or 5th in that tournament. Wow. And there was
a lot before you go talent. Any further, you talked AMMA. So we're a Filipino group here. So for all of our viewers, what is the AMMA?
Yeah, don't ever Google AMMA. You'll never get the thing. You have to type in Armored Medieval Martial Arts. Or Armored MMA. Because there's 1,000 organizations and different things with AMMA as an acronym. But yeah, so that's the AMMA, as I'm referencing it, is the cage fighting version of the medieval combat. Okay. What I've been talking about is more of like what you might see at a Renaissance festival or stuff like that, but like full-blown fighting. Like, there is no script. We're really hitting each other. People are getting bones broken, cuts and bruises, overexhaustion, dehydration, all that stuff. So there was like 25 people in this tournament for longsword, and I ended up finishing 5th. So essentially all that did was fuel me. I'm like, oh, maybe I can actually do this. Sure. And in a discipline that I had never done before. I picked up a longsword for the first time a few months before that. I was like, all open hand combatives. It was never 2 hands on a single weapon. And then I went to my next tournament and I medaled. I got a medal, and I was like, oh, maybe I really can do this. And then I just kept showing up and practicing and just going to every tournament I possibly could and just outworking, really. I'm not the best swords fighter. I'm not the best practitioner by any means, but I just, from what the opponents that enjoy fighting me, they tell me that I'm very tenacious and I fight better tired than most people. And that just comes from a lot of the combat training that I've done with Muay Thai and Krav and KFM. For anybody that doesn't know KFM and Defense Lab, basically everything you do with one opponent, you do with 4. So you do it with somebody in front of you, behind you, and on both sides. So there's times every week we were sparring and I'm fighting 4 people at the same time, which built my field awareness for the 5-versus-5 fights. Because as soon as I started jumping into the melees, that's the first thing everybody said. They're like, your field awareness is amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get hit in the back with a 6-foot axe.
Right.
It's not conducive to my health. I don't want to do it. So just keeping my head on a swivel, even though my head doesn't move very much in my melee kit. But yeah, so I did that for a full year, and everybody was encouraging me to optimize into titanium armor or different types of armor to make me lighter and faster and be less exhausted. And I was like, I'll wait, because 1, it's money, and 2, it's time to get it all. And I was like, well, if I can optimize my body to move inside of this armor, then when I do optimize my kit, I should be 10 times better. So I just kept doing that. I just kept trying to fight in this big, clunky, heavy armor with basically training weapons. I didn't have anything special. I call it the Walmart special armor. It's good armor. It's really good armor, but it's not optimized by any means. It's very protective, and that's it. Okay. It's not mobile or anything. And then, I signed up halfway through my second year of fighting for the AMMA cage fights. I had never done that version of the sport up until that point. I had tried. They have it at these little tournaments, but I'm so focused on longsword. I'm doing well, and I'm trying to make it to the world championships. Like, I'm just focused. And so I sign up, and I'm like, nah, maybe they take me, maybe they don't. And I get a last-minute call from the owner, Mickey Gallis, last August. So basically a year from this month.
Okay.
And he's like, can you show up in Nashville? And I'm like, sure. So I'm camping in the Finger Lakes for my buddy's wedding. And I'm like, dude, I got to go. Like, he calls me, I got to go. And so I drive 12 hours Friday night into Saturday. I take a nap at the hotel, and then I fight Saturday night for the first time. And I do pretty good on the first round, and then my inexperience shows in bright lights. Like, Mickey just starts rolling me. The lights are getting me. My kit's heavy. I'm not used to being on the ground. I'm trying to, like, shrimp, and I can't move, and, like, I'm trying to do up kicks, and he's hitting me, and he said I did really well. He said I hurt him when I was on the ground. And I may have, because his kit's a little thinner. But honestly, I did not do well, like, in the grand scheme of things. But he saw my potential, which was the most important thing. And if you
let me interject here.
Yeah.
So first one, our friend says there's cage fighting in the Philippines. Yeah, but it's not this. And while we have people here, I happen to have. How was your match against Daniel Eddy?
I thought I was gonna do better than I did. Okay. I did well. I did not do well. This is
not a bad match for you, though.
It's a pretty even match. Okay. Eddie is a much experienced fighter. Yeah. So
let's watch bits and pieces of it here. So for
you
everyone,
should definitely watch the very first few seconds.
So they're in the MMA cage, beating the crap out of each other. Will just punched him in the throat. That was nice.
Yeah, and I'm using a big, clunky shield. Oh, no, I think that's the one I switched to afterwards. My first one broke.
Swing and a miss. So, yes, they do have cage stick fighting in the Philippines, just not like this. So spinning front kicks to begin with. I mean, that's a lot of armor. Both players do spin kicks. And I had all these ideas. I'm like, I can help these guys. I'm a disarm specialist. Then they gave me one of their weapons, and I'm like, oh, hell no, this ain't working. I'm used to hunk of rattan. The sword had to weigh 5-10 pounds. And I'm like, geez, how do you do stuff? And then, of course, we'd have multiple hands on some of them. Let's see what we've got here. Is the armor handmade or created specifically for the type of fighting?
Both, really, I guess.
I was going to say yes.
The answer is yes. So mine's all spring steel except for my brig, which is the chest piece, which is plate armor under wool, essentially. That's titanium. And the only reason I spent a little bit of extra money on that was because of maintenance. I didn't want to have to deal with rusty metal under wool. So it's nice because it's like 10 pounds lighter than steel, but it's less protective. And actually, the first one I got was too tight. So I wore it into a melees and I got destroyed. It was the mud pit at Grapes of Wrath. If anybody has followed this sport, they know about the mud pit at Grapes of Wrath in 2024. And I was stuck in the mud just taking two-handed axe swings from the Executioners, which is the Knights Hall up in Nashua. So one of the Bane guys. And I had, a plate bent into my spine. I had a planetary blues on my hip. I was like, I can't wear this in the melees. It's just no good. But it is the one that I wear in most of my duels. So it's the blue and gray one. But what I did is I immediately, because I wanted to do the sport, I put my brig on with all my gear, and then I took the measurements again with that on, and then added to that. And I got another brig that was a little more adjustable, and that's the black one. If you ever see me wear a black one, that's my melee kit. Normally you can't see it because we have the tabards over it. But when I was in Romania, we'll get to that story, I'm sure. But I'm not in my blue and gray, and it looks weird. I don't even recognize myself. Sometimes I'm like, is that me fighting? Because I'm like so used to my gear.
Nice.
But yeah.
Well, actually, so that was a lot of good detail. It's quite the journey going from where you started and where you're ending up. And one of the things that caught me was that basically all of it is your funnest stuff that you did. So first thing I would say is it seems like you definitely go a whole hog in whatever that you're into.
Yeah, you guys know that about me.
Yeah, well, I was going to say you brushed over one thing, I think, is because I know that you said you and Tim used to play together a fair bit, but then you moved on. Really, I think it was for several years you would get together and play for a long time each, and I guess you'd cross pollinate with each other. I'm not sure. I was wondering if you'd talk a little bit about that, because again, I'm trying to explore the connections with FMA, which you brought up a couple times, and see how that influenced things.
Yeah, so I had my school, which was small but fun. And that was in like North Buffalo area, and Tim's in West Seneca. So we were about 15, 20 minutes apart.
Like everything.
I mean, yeah. And then, so I don't remember specifically how what we did and like what time frames, but like there was times where I taught some classes at his school. I did seminars at his school. We did private training with just the two of us, and we talk business and do, hand-to-hand stuff. He like, hey, I'm working on this thing. What do you think? And I'm like, well, I would do this. Like just playing around, seeing what was out there. And then there was one point that I was going there at like 6 a.m, 5:30, 6 a.m, and we were training on like Tuesdays, I think. And we trained for like an hour and a half, and then I'd go to the farm where I was working at the time. So I'd train with Tim first thing in the morning, then I go work on the farm, and then I go teach class or take class. Like I was just constantly moving, which I still am. Like my shoulders are killing me right now. If you see me rubbing my shoulders, I was just out on the water for an hour and a half with my row team. We got a regatta in 2 weeks.
Okay, nice.
So I'm just constantly trying to keep active.
Well, you can combine that rowing with Armored Combat League and the CUB Vikings, right? And invade places.
Pretty much. But yeah, like me and Tim, we would do. I focused a lot more on the open hand combatives, and maybe a little bit of the knives and the weapons. And then he taught me a lot of the stick stuff, which is where a lot of my sword skill comes from, just learning those angles. And I'm sure we'll get into another interesting story. I'm sure I'll remember it. But like I got in trouble, not trouble, but I got spoken to and was used as an example, which is usually the case. As Tim knows, I get used as an example because my sword was being lazy in a fight. And what I was doing is I wasn't retracting my wrist fast enough because I'm so used to shadow fighting because unfortunately, I'm the only one in Buffalo that does this sport. I have to travel to Rochester or Toronto to get a training partner, or I have to go to tournament and practice there. Like I was saying before, my first cage fight was a year ago, and I've only ever fought in the cage. I don't have a training partner that I've trained with regularly. Like I put on my stuff, I show up to a fight, and I try my hardest. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. Like it all depends. But yeah, so my wrist was a little lazy, and one of the rules in our sport is we don't stab. That is first and foremost. There's no stabbing. Safety is key. That's why a lot of the helmets look the way they do, is to prevent people from stabbing. Like I have chainmail over my basically wolf rib and nasal, and that's to help stop swords from entering my helmet and then my face. But my it was getting lazy, so I was pointing my sword at my opponent, but it wasn't long enough to get in trouble, but it was borderline. So the ref, who knows I'm not doing it on purpose, is like, just clean that up. So They gave me some pointers, and that was actually this past was the 18th of July. I was in Pittsburgh, and that's when that happened, my fight against Nathan Kitchen. And then I had a week, and I was living in Pittsburgh, training for my new job, and I went and fought in Detroit on the 25th. And I asked, I was like, did I clean it up? And they're like, yeah, you did a good job. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not being lazy with my sword anymore. But it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. You get tired. It is what it is.
Sure, that's interesting. Well, one of my instincts a lot of time is to actually have the end of my stick, if you will, kind of pointed at folks a lot of the time, right? So even if I get finished with a move, it's pointed to them on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're the exact opposite. Like that's like rule one: don't point your sword at your opponent. Okay. So like, and because my specialty is longsword, it's a 4-foot sword, right? So like I can hold it down at my waist, and the tip is above my opponent's head. But when I fight in the cage, I do the same thing. I'll rest at the hips to try and conserve energy, but the sword is much shorter, so the angle changes, and then I'm pointing it right at the dude's face.
Okay. I see.
So you either got to keep it on your shoulder, or point it out, or in. Like
that's interesting. So it makes sense for safety.
There's intricacies that you got to do.
Yeah, and you said that's mainly driven for safety, right? Because
it's 100% for safety.
Yeah. Because when I
mean, I'm not going to say that some of the clubs and the guys don't have fights on their own where you can stab.
Right. Well, my idea is the reason that I keep it pointed when I'm thinking, and this is a shorter weapon, obviously, is that it might go off. So it's exactly for what you don't want.
Yeah. It's like they might walk forward and you're not ready for it and impale themselves. They might go up under the helmet or something like that.
Yep, I get it. Which for the way I train this, I don't mind that, right? If I'm really going to fight a bad guy, I don't really care.
Yeah. And to tie that in with the Filipino stuff, you guys have the hit at, the hit in, and the hit through. So because I was shadow fighting and I didn't have a pel or anything to hit, I was doing a lot of hit at or hit ins and not a lot of hit throughs.
Okay.
So what would happen is I would hit my opponent and then I would pull straight back instead of cutting through them and then coming back with like a number 2 or a backhanded attack. Because it's a big heavy weapon and it's slow, and now my hands are crossed and I can get punched.
You're fighting yourself if you're bringing it back, essentially.
Yeah, there's a time and place for it. Like I'll do an angle 1, and then I'll come back with the backhand to the legs, so it's out of the way of my punch and stuff like that. But
but there's a flick. I've seen some of the HEMA folks. Right, there's some things you do when you retract that's different than we would do with a lighter weapon, for sure.
Yeah, and that's another big aspect of the sport is power. So generally the judges in any of the leagues, in any of the duels or any of the cage fight leagues, anything like that, they want to see the tip of the sword move at least 90 degrees because they don't want tippy-tappy hits. Good. They want it to be like, hey, you're trying to take this sword through that person's steel or titanium.
Well, that just gives me another idea. Yeah, well, it just gives me another idea because I was watching that short clip and there was a couple kicks in there, and I was thinking, if someone's kicking, is it okay to chop through their leg?
I do it all the time.
Okay. I just wondering.
Like if you watch the Daniel Eddy fight, he does a front kick and I block it by doing I think it's a backhand strike. It might be a forehand strike. I think it's a forehand strike to his foot because you're not allowed to attack the foot, the back of the knee, the armpit, or the back of the neck.
Okay. Safety again.
But if he tries to kick me or if I try to kick somebody, they can absolutely hit me with their sword. And it's just leather underneath the sabaton. So if I can't catch it, I'm going to hit it. If I can, if I'm not tired and if I have my timer.
Well, it just occurred to me because yes, you have a heavy weapon, but also they've got heavy armor. They're moving around, so the kicks are probably a little slower. It looked like, at least from the clip I saw.
They are slower. I'm working with some of the other guys in the sport that do a lot of kicking to try and figure out what we can do with the armor to get more mobility, and then also targeting. So like head kicks are hard to do in armor. I can do them. I haven't pulled one off in tournament yet, but I can do them.
Okay.
But I do a lot of low kicks and a lot of like roundhouse kicks to the shins and thighs. And the wrestlers, they handle it pretty well. But some of the other guys that maybe have like lighter armor or they're more duelist specialty people.
Do you get points for those strikes, the non-weapon strikes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they call those.
Pretty much everything's a point. Anything to the chest is 2 points. Anything to the head is 2 points.
Okay. As long as it doesn't look happy.
Yeah. As long as there's power to it.
Okay.
Takedowns are different point structure depending on the leagues and stuff like that.
So if you could land a hopping kick and throw someone up against the ring, you'd be a happy camper.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you watch some of my fights, I don't get very many of them, but my leg kicks are pretty strong from all the Muay Thai and all the KFM and stuff that I do. And then you add like 15 pounds of steel per leg.
Right. Plus
Like,
all
there's just
the
a
weight
lot
that you're
of
carrying that
momentum.
goes behind your
Right.
body momentum. Yep. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
so let's ask this: are the weapons similar to the SCA fighting, and what the requirements for weapon design?
Good question.
That'd be a question for you. I have no idea what SCA requirements are.
SCA, they use rattan, so it's not going to be the same. So let's talk about this. Well, I know on the fencing side more than anything else, you've got there's 5 weapon classes. There's single, double, single with a flexible pairing weapon, single with a rigid pairing weapon, and then there's like single with a dagger. So, what are the weapon sets, or what are the weapons that are legal versus illegal, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I've been using the word modality. It's just a word I use, so it helps. But usually in tournaments, there's going to be different dueling categories or modalities with the weapons, and I do longsword. That's a 2-handed weapon. The other 2-handed category would be pole arm, which is a long staff with some sort of metal on the end of it. There's sword and shield, sword and buckler, and then depending on the organization and what tournament you're at, there's what's called outrance, which is basically what I'm doing in the cage, but they do it in the list in the field. And there's different rules at different organizations and stuff like that when it comes to all these categories. So you really have to pay attention to what league you're in and what category you're in. Like, for instance, you can use the same sword in sword and shield and sword and buckler. People don't. Sometimes they have specific swords for each, but you can use both. The buckler is obviously smaller and the shield is bigger. In sword and buckler, for the most part, from my understanding, it's the first to 5 points, so it's very fast. Whereas sword and shield is generally 2 1-minute rounds with 30 seconds or 1 minute in between. So it's more of a endurance trial and more time to play and try and set up strikes. But you can use the same equipment. I go into sword and shield when I do my sword and shield with my punch shield that I use in the cage, and because that's all I have. I don't have the big heater shield, but you could do it with a buckler too if you wanted to practice, because that's why I started doing sword and shield, because I knew I wanted to get into the cage, and the only way I had to practice was at tournament. So I used my punch shield in sword shield. I won a couple medals at small tournaments, but I generally get eaten alive because I can't block that much.
Okay.
With this, like, unless I'm playing the game and I'm really trying to win, I get aggressive and stuff like that. But I'm usually just practicing my skills in those tournaments. And but yeah, that's why, like, in that Daniel Levy fight, if you watch the whole thing, you'll see that I don't punch as much with my punch shield because I'm not used to punching, because you're not allowed to do it in duels. So I use it mainly as a blocking mechanism. And I noticed that about myself, and then I adjusted, and now you'll see me punch more with it now.
Okay.
But yeah,
let's get caught up here a little. Here we got some people making some comments. So first of all, Cindy Lou, we met her in her sons when we were in Iloilo. So hello, Miles and Dempsey. And then of course she wants us to shout out Rodriguez Arnis Secret Martial Arts Association. We won't do that, not at all. Even though I just mentioned it.
That's right.
I won't say it. No. And then here's the one. So she's got another question, and she said we can call her whatever we want. So, yo, G.
There you go.
When we see you in person, then you're going to coach us on how to pronounce your name properly, because but here we go. For sure, the weapons are not real because there would be blood in the cage. So here's what I'm going to say. They're probably very authentic. You have to think about medieval knights didn't have razor sharp weapons. Right. They were more shaped impact tools. Not to say that they weren't sharper, but obviously, if you ever watched the movie A Knight's Tale, which is a hilarious movie with a great soundtrack, parts of it were accurate. These weapons were dulled so they wouldn't kill each other, because this was in non-wartime or non-war events. You wouldn't want to have someone getting killed with a lance. I'm assuming it may have happened periodically. Obviously, Game of Thrones, it happens, but that's Game of Thrones. The fact of the matter here is that this was a way for them to hone their skills, and without killing each other. But when you look at some of the combat manuals, like the two-handed sword was actually used, they would grab the blade because they'd have metal gauntlets, and they would actually use the crossbars to hook people's necks and pull them down, or hit them with the ball at the end of that. And there's so much things going on there. And of course, we have our good friend Chris Davison,
Chris
shouting us out.
Nice.
Datu Tai.
But just, I mean, the swords are the weapons you're fighting with, they are steel, right?
Yeah. So to touch base
yeah.
on that, because I guess that's what everybody's interested in. You have authenticity requirements in almost every league. The most stringent one would be the BI League, Blue Herd International. It's like the standard-ish type thing. Usually, if you're good there, you can bring your weapon to the other leagues, and there's usually not a problem for the most part. But yeah, they like my armor has to match the right century and everything, which it does because I bought it all together. But the weapons also have to match weapons of the time. They have to be the same shape, similar weights and designs and stuff like that. They are all made of steel. They are all very dangerous. That's why there's no stabbing. I could still impale people with it.
Yep.
I have put people on their knee in a longsword tournament just from hitting them with it, and they're wearing metal, but it's because it's a bigger weapon, and I've gotten stronger and I've gotten better. Like I've hit these guys, and they go, "Ow, that hurts," and they quit, which was mind blowing because I didn't think that was possible, but it is. And then, like I just got hit at the one tournament this past month, and I was like, "Oh wow, that actually hurt." Like, they are real weapons. My axe, I've put people down. I've damaged people's armor. I put, in their shoulder, I've put giant bowl-shaped dents in them with just a little. I don't even know how much my axe weighs. I think the head of it's like a pound or two. Like it's not a lot. It's a very optimized axe. But
do they have Morningstar maces or anything like that, or is it all?
They do. Blades? They have ball maces.
Okay.
I don't know if the other maces are allowed. I don't use them very often, but ball maces are making a comeback. Those things hurt.
I was going to say those are guaranteed to hurt, and they're doing exactly what they would do if they were real, essentially. Especially you said the weight requirements, right? So basically, in that sense, those are exactly real.
Yeah, all the weapons are basically if you took a real weapon that you would find at the time, and then you just make them rounded on the edges and on the tips. But everything else is real. But the other safety requirement is the hilt. Those usually have to be a bit shorter because if they're too long, they can go into the helmet.
Okay. So again,
which has happened. It's safety.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything that doesn't look authentic would be 100% a safety variation.
So is this then patterned after people seriously training at the time? So there'll be, I wouldn't say tournaments, but gatherings where they would test themselves because it's not wartime, but it's still serious in that sense. They weren't to the death or whatever, but they wanted to seriously test themselves and do the bragging rights and all that good stuff. Is it patterned after that? So then that's why all this stuff matches pretty well, or is it, is there some other thought behind it?
To be perfectly honest, that sounds right. I'm an athlete getting into this sport. I thought, medieval stuff is cool. I like that movie, A Knight's Tale and stuff like that. And I think that's pretty much what this was based off of, is like, hey, the fighters in the military would come in and they need to practice, and then it turns into tournaments, just like everything else. So yeah, it's based off of real fighting, off of what they did back then in peace times or in, off times or whatever. But yeah, it's all based off of that, as far as I can tell.
So I would say that Knight's Tale was great, but I'm an Excalibur guy, so which is a little more fantasy, of course. So I was wondering, so you had this martial arts background and this focus on stuff that works, right? And focus on hard contact and whatnot. I wonder, I'm sure some people get it from the HEMA background. How do those guys make the adjustment, or have you talked to them at all?
Well, it's kind of funny. When I first started, everybody thought I did HEMA, and I was like, no, I did Filipino Martial Arts. Like, that's just because my swordplay was of that caliber.
Okay.
I don't know too much about HEMA. I know enough that I could probably get by this question. But so the people that come up through like the SCA or HEMA, I think their biggest adjustment isn't the technicality of how to fight. It's more of the athleticism of how to fight. Like they have to get in shape and they have to learn that it's not one hit and then done. Like you have to fight for a full 2 minutes or up to however long your tournament is at the time, because they do red fairs and different tournaments that are outside the league. They make up their own rules. But yeah, I think it's more of like their adjustment is, wow, this is really exhausting. I have to wear actual armor, otherwise it hurts. Right. So it changes.
And it is going to hurt. That's another adjustment, probably. It is going to hurt. It's going to keep hurting.
Yeah, and I think HEMA can stab sometimes, but I'm not sure about that.
Right. I think
so. That's another adjustment. So you're learning how to use your sword when you can't point it at your opponent.
Right, because HEMA
working the outside angles,
the whole battlefield art, and of course stabbing is a big piece, right? So yeah.
Okay, that's a safety issue, so that's why it's not there.
Safety is a good thing, otherwise you don't have partners to play with.
Exactly.
So yeah,
but yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like I tell people, and I think Jay mentioned this. He's like, and with all the love in the world, because Boo Hurt is love, and that's another name for the sport is Boo Hurt. There's two aspects into the sport. There's the nerds and the athletes. Okay. So the nerds are trying to be athletes, and the athletes are trying to be nerds. I still don't know what some of my equipment is called. Sure. I'm like, can I have my shin guards? Like, I don't.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I'm trying, but I'm focused on the fighting aspect of it. And then other guys, they want to get kitted out and look real nice, and then they only come out to a couple tournaments because they don't want to damage their equipment. And mine's getting ratty and worn down and rusted and dented, and I kind of like that it looks used. But it is nice.
It's called a patina. A patina
of blood.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get caught up here because we have to go back here. So G says, ouch, must hurt when you get hit. Yeah. Interesting conversation. I'm late to the party. Where can I see these matches? That's a great question. Will?
If you want to watch, so if you want to watch the more traditional tournament style, you would go to YouTube and Boo Hurt International, BUHURT International. It's, I don't know if there's another word to it. I forget. I just Googled it. But yeah, they usually live stream the bigger tournaments, and they should have a past category. Just remember to go to the live section if you want to watch the live stuff, but they'll also have clips and stuff like that. Another good resource if you want to watch really good video of the melees and the bigger tournaments is a gentleman known as Timothy Hines. He is the GOAT when it comes to filming the sport. Like, it was amazing the first time I saw him running around the list with his big the big camera that, got the things that balance it. I'm losing the word right now.
Okay, gimbal.
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't think of that. And then but yeah, he's just running from list to list trying to get the best, and he does a phenomenal job. So Timothy Hines on YouTube is another great one. But if you want to watch the cage fights, you can watch the Armored League on YouTube. That is I fought for them once. I plan on fighting for them again if I can. They usually do events during the week, so it's hard. But that one's cool because it's a tournament style. So like you fight a cage fight. If you win, you fight another one. If you win, you fight a third one, and then you're the tournament champion for that day. And then they get all the champions together at the end of the season, and they have a match like that with all the guys that won. So it's pretty cool.
So,
and then
Boo Hurt, aren't you their North American longsword champion?
This year.
There you go. Look at that.
All right.
Yeah, 2025, I earned that title. I think Mason's going to take it this year based on the math I've done. But yeah, I did earn it last year from just grit, just going out there and trying as hard as I could. So
and I'm going to bring up some more comments here, but on that, you've gone pro. Does that disqualify you from events like that?
No. It used to, from what I understand, the organizations didn't really get along. But now everybody, us as fighters, we fight pretty much in any league we want to, and nobody really cares. So, and that's what's nice about it. And that's why, like I said, Boo Hurt is love. We all are friends. There's only so many of us that do it. We see each other at different events. And before I forget, because the big one, this one right here, where I do most of my cage fighting is the AMMA. So you can go to YouTube and watch them. I think all but my one fight are on there. If I remember, my fight with Mario Aguilar is not on there. That one was our first Pittsburgh event, and there was problems with just logistical problems, so it didn't get filmed right. And but yeah, you go to the live stream, and you can watch the fights live as they're happening. I think the next one is on the 15th in Illinois or Indiana. I forget which. So if you go to AMMA, Armored Medieval Martial Arts, whatever it is, it's hard to Google it if you just put AMMA. Don't do that. Put Armored Medieval MMA. You'll get there. Right. But yeah, you go to the live feed and it's 7 o'clock, whatever time zone they're in, and you can watch the whole thing live, and you can watch it back. Like I said, all my fights are on there for the last year. So except for the one.
Knowing you probably go back and watch those and analyze and
oh yeah, I do. Yeah. It was funny this past one because it was my first pro fight. Like so I was doing exhibitions for the past year because I just wasn't ready. And I progressed with each fight. I tried to get better with each fight because that's the only place I can really train and compete. So I got better and better and better. And then Mickey, the owner, Mickey Gallus, was convinced that I was ready for a pro fight. So that is twice as long. So it's 3 2-minute rounds instead of 3 1-minute rounds.
Okay.
And the ground time's longer. So instead of being on the ground for 10 seconds, we could stay there for 15.
Okay.
And yeah, so I went pro. And where was I going with this? I don't even remember. Lost my train of thought. Whatever. Anyways, I fought and I ended up losing, but we did tie in the most crazy way. So me and my opponent were standing in the ring for what seemed like forever. And we tied in every category, and they had to go to a tiebreaker that they've never used. So because he was a little more aggressive in the ring, so it was subjective or whatever, he ended up getting it, which he deserved. He did a great job. He punched me in the ribs, which hurt a lot. I kicked him in the head. I got a takedown on him, but then I got a takedown on myself. I kicked him in the leg. I caught up. He did a great job of capitalizing on that. But yeah, it was a good time. And then it was all live. Like I think that's where we were at, is free on YouTube. Just go watch it. Oh, that's what I was saying. I was doing that fight, and then later in the hotel, I immediately watched my fight again. And I was listening to Mickey, and I was listening to the other commentators. And then the next morning, I happened to run into Mickey in the hallway of the hotel. And he was telling me something. He's like, oh, you'll hear about it on the live stream. And I was like, no, I already did. He's like, I know you watched that. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to not watch that immediately as soon as I get back there. Like, this is my training. This is how I work. And you guys know that. You guys give me material, and I'm like, I'm on it. Like, I have to get it soaked in. I
think that's incredible because it's right fresh in your brain. It's a perfect time to do that portion of your work. But I know you put more into it than that even, right? Synthesizing over time and stuff.
Yeah. And it's the third person perspective of it all. Like, I know how fast I felt or how slow I felt, or if that hurt, or if like this seemed like it took too long, or where I was on the mat. And then I watch it back. I'm like, man, I'm moving a lot faster than I thought I was, or like I don't look as tired as I felt.
Okay.
Or that angle was better than I thought. Like the big thing with me this last fight was my targeting was insane. Like I was scoring so many points where normally like it gets blocked or I miss. And like everybody was saying, like your sword play jumped so much in the week.
Nice.
And it was just focus, I guess. I have no idea. I didn't practice. I just thought about it a lot.
That's part of practice, you know.
Yep.
Visualization stuff. So I know that you said there's you're on the ground all the time. That just occurred to me. So I know a little bit about HEMA. And I know one of the things that people like to do is a lot of research into ringen, which is the armored grappling that comes into play, whether you're close or on the ground and you fall or whatever. It's not the emphasis, but it is tools in your bag. And I'm wondering, if you see much of that, or are people just putting out jiu-jitsu, or are they just wrestling, or are they just getting up and getting away? I'm just curious how that plays out. Just curious myself.
I'm sure everybody's doing a little bit of all of that. Okay. The sport is so new, especially the ground aspect of it. Like I said, in the exhibitions, in the cage, it's only 10 seconds on the ground before you get stood back up. It's 15. I think they're going to go to longer next season. I think in some of the organizations, you can be on the ground until the end of the round. So you get a little bit more practice, but you're also in the dirt or the grass, you know what I mean? Or it's raining, or it's 85 and sunny. Like, so it's interesting being on the ground. I think a lot of people use wrestling and jiu-jitsu, but there's no joint locks. So it's more about the flow of it all. Okay. And then you can also hit with your sword and shield or whatever you have while you're on the ground.
Okay, whatever you still have.
Instance,
Okay.
Yeah, so And if you're in a dominant position, you're usually scoring more points.
Sure.
So it might be a 2-1. Like if you're on top, you're scoring 2 points. The guy on the bottom's only scoring 1, and it's hard to get a good shot because you can't move a lot. So that's a tippy-tappy strike instead of a power strike.
Okay.
In my last fight, when my back hit the mat, I knew I was in trouble. So I immediately locked up my opponent's legs, and I tripped him, but he fell into the cage, which sucked.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't get like any points off of that or a reversal or anything, but I saw an opportunity. So I unlatched my legs and I put both my feet into his face with an up kick and like knocked his head back and everything. And I didn't feel like it did anything, but talking to him afterwards and even in his post-fight interview, he said he was like, that hurt. Like, so, and even in my first fight with Mickey on the ground, you can see me struggling. Like he'll put me on my back and then I'm trying to grab his arm, and then I grab his arm, he headbutts me, and then I grab his head and he like knees me, like, and I'm trying to like shrimp out of it, but you only have so much time. So you really got to capitalize on your ground game unless you are in one of those tournaments where you can play on the ground. But once again, your head weighs 15 pounds more than it normally does.
Right.
You have far less mobility.
Yeah. Well, I think the time limit.
Yeah.
I was just saying the time limit I think is good because it gets boring after a while if you're not there. If you're not the one doing it, right? It's boring.
Unless you're really interested in grappling, it can get boring to watch.
Right.
Like that's just what it is. Just like when strikers aren't striking and they're like trying to pick that timing and like they're just not slugging. They're just
There's a lot going on, but
but yeah, and like you got your tabard on, that's getting caught on stuff. Like all your equipment's getting caught on each other, so you might have a good position, but your leg armor might be locked up. Or your shield might be caught in a weird way, and because it's big and you're in the corner or something, like you can't get your arm to move, and that's what you do when you're on top, is like try to keep their equipment immobile as much as you can while scoring points.
Okay, so let's get some of these other comments. So flails and morning stars, we know that's a no. In the Philippines, they only do padded sticks and rattan.
Live rattan, yeah.
RC, that's Ralph. Flanged mace.
Yeah, I don't know what a flanged mace is. It's probably got a pointy thing, so probably no.
Yeah. And then let me see. Is it only European style, or are there samurai divisions? That's a good question.
There are. In the leagues that I fight in, it's European if you're European. When I was in Romania, there was a Chinese fighter, but he had all Chinese gear from the same time period.
Okay. What is the time period again? Just because that was one of my questions.
14th century, I believe.
Okay, 14th century.
Something like that.
It doesn't matter where.
15, somewhere in there.
14th century.
As long as your kit matches and you're within that like 200-year range, they're pretty okay with it.
14th century plus or minus 50 on each side or something.
Yeah, however they do it. I just got down the middle, made sure I was good. Like I said, my stuff's sporting equipment to me. Like I just made sure it worked.
I get you. I was just
curious. But there is a guy in the other league that I've never fought, and he's a really good longsword fighter, and I'd like to fight him at some point, and hopefully I will. But he's got a whole samurai get. Like,
okay, interesting. Yeah. That is a good question. I would have thought no, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least with the different leagues.
All right. And he goes, is there grappling as well, which we already talked about. Weapons only. Okay. And then we've got we're not okay, that's not today's topic. Antonio, how you doing, sir? Haven't talked to you in a while. This is cool. 14th century when men were men.
There you go.
And sheep were nervous.
That's right.
And you wiped with your hand.
And you shook with your other hand, and he ate with your other hand.
Hopefully.
See, well, you're quite talkative on today's show. You were worried about, I'll be very whatever. I think you've been doing well on the show.
It's interesting. People have been saying they were enjoying it. Yeah. Well, this is something different too, and it's cool because you can bring in examples for what you do, which is what we're asking about. So even if you don't know all the nerdy details, that's just side questions, if you will. So that's fine.
And I'm assuming the armor has to be metal. It cannot be something else.
I mean, for safety, they have put that in there as a rule. Okay. But as a somewhat intelligent person, if I was getting hit with a steel weapon, I would probably want metal protecting me.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, it's one of your rules. So, obviously, when you look at some of the Japanese armor, a lot of that was leather.
Right, banded
Yeah.
armor
And wood.
oiled leather and wood. Yep.
But it's
Oiled-
also a
oiled
different
leather, by the
type
way,
of
is pretty
fighting.
tough.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
w-
I mean, the
war
weapons
is-
are different.
Yeah, and war is different than sport. You know what I mean? You're going to kill. So you're not
Yeah.
theoretically you shouldn't be hitting your opponent more than a couple times. Whereas like we're standing across from each other and just bashing each other with these steel weapons.
Ben says, great show,
Because
looks
you're crazy.
interesting. And then
A little
Jason is, I'm learning lots, bro.
Nice. Yep.
So
Yeah. By the way, any questions along these lines from the peanut gallery would be great, because you know how we'll definitely roll those in if we can.
Yeah, and I'll just share what I know from my personal experience. It's so much more complex than what I'm sharing. There's lineage and books, and people have been around for like 10 years. The sport came to the U.S. in 2010, and I know people that have been in the sport roughly that long, and it's like they just know way more. And the handful of us that have been around pretty much since COVID stopped, we're all learning as best we can, and from different avenues. You know, the Ren Fair guys are learning to be athletes. The athletes are learning to be Ren Fair guys. Like, and everyone's usually pretty cool with each other. I haven't run into anybody, at least as far as I know, that has a problem with me, and I haven't run into anybody that I have a problem with. So
Well, I
it's a
kinda
great
like that
community.
Yeah, well, I kind of like there's a merge between, and like you said, the athletes being, having to interact with the nerds and vice versa. I think both of them probably help keep each other on point, right? With the keeping things real, if you will, in terms of efficacy and the athleticism need and the grit and all that kind of good stuff, intensity and tenacity, as well as still keeping it, true to, where your starting point is, right? Because you could go off in La La Land without either of those keeping you on point. So I think that's probably good.
Yeah,
But
and we're
I'm sure
all
there's-
there to make each other better in every possible way. So, like, if
Perfect.
somebody switches up a piece of their equipment, one of the authenticity guys or guys that are more interested in that will be like, hey, man, that doesn't match. You might get away with it that tournament, but, like, keep an eye on it. Or if some guy that has a lot of drip, that's what they're saying now.
Right.
I
got it.
He goes in there, and I'm like, dude, you're dropping your sword when you're stepping left. Like, you just need to pick that up and go low. Like, and if they make that adjustment, they're usually doing a little bit better. So, like, I see that aspect where they're like,
Cool.
Will, your gear's a little messed up. You need to fix that.
Interesting. So with those side people being, constructive criticism, it sounds like all you ever get, which is awesome, right? Everybody there to have fun and learn and get better, which is
okay.
Hopefully that keeps on going.
Yeah, I go out there and I tell people exactly how I'm going to fight them, just because that's a challenge. Like,
Okay.
I want you to know that this is how I'm going to do it, so I can
Uh-huh.
then learn how you're going to defend it. And
Like
then
Billy
if I really
Jack.
want to win, I might switch it up. But
There you go.
So
So you're Billy Jack.
a little bit.
You
So-
know who Billy Jack is, right? Billy
okay,
Jack, you know that.
okay, good.
I've heard of it,
You're
yeah.
Billy
Some,
Jack. Yeah.
I heard of it. You got to watch the movie, or at least that scene. You don't have to watch the movie. You got to watch the scene.
That's one where he's
So-
going to take the foot on the other side of the
Right.
head.
Yeah,
There's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Of course, you got to watch the Major Payne version of that too, because that's even funnier. So,
Well, I
Health
mean-
Preacher says, "Sorry, I'm late. Is this a Society of Creative Anachronism competitions? No, it's not. But it did start from there. It was its genesis, where or at least one of the founding members just felt that the SCA was too focused on the other aspect. He was just, the funny thing is a lot of times the joke was that some of the fighters were put in a Ziploc bag with Cosmoline. So they oiled up their uniforms, their suits, they put them away, and they're only opened up for competition. Well, you know what? Who cares if only people want to fight and don't want to do the whole thing? So these guys created leagues. I'm not sure if the Armored Combat League was the first one. It was one of the first ones. And that's what this is now. Will is one of their premier fighters, has just gone pro and is doing very good. I'm going to get these other comments caught up here. So right up here, are weapons matched, or are the different weapons versus different weapons?
Good question.
They are matched for the most part in duels. Like, you're not going to fight longsword versus sword and shield. Like, that's a category. So those are usually matched pretty well. In the cage exhibitions, I fought longsword versus sword and shield. Like, you can mix weapons. As long as it's agreed upon, you can do pretty much whatever you want. In the pro fights, kind of the same. I don't know how. I've only had one, and most people fight sword and shield. I've only gotten somebody to fight me with an axe once, and that was one of the ones I won. I turned into a two-handed practitioner somehow. But even though I was trained open hand with sticks and everything. Some about the two-handers found me. But yeah, you can fight mixed weapons. When I first did it, everyone looked at me like I was a psychopath. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It seemed fun. I'll try it out." But most people match weapons if they can. The thing that is most variant, I think, that I've seen in the pro fights and the cage fights and stuff is the shield. You'll see like a buckler with a punch shield or like something like that. But the sword is generally the same, unless it's in an exhibition and people want to have fun.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Ben, are there weight classes not taking into account for the armor, larger versus smaller?
Yes, the AMMA has weight classes. I swing between light heavyweight and welterweight. The Armored League, I'm not really sure how they do it. Because when I've watched it, they say the weight in armor. So I'm not really sure what the rule is exactly, but they do weigh you in armor. So that's interesting. And then duels in the BI tournaments, there's no weight class whatsoever. Like I said, my first fight, like I'm 6 foot 185 on a healthy day. I fought some guy that was like 6'6", 350 without armor.
Okay.
Like he's a big guy.
Right.
And then like I fought Bohumil, which is notorious in our sport, and he's 6'4", 240, 260, something like that. And he's notorious for being aggressive. Like he is just solid muscle and just throws people around. So he hasn't thrown me around. That was my goal every time I fought him, was just don't let him throw you. And I've been successful at that. I haven't won against him, but I have not been thrown. So I've won my personal battle with that personal
There you
fighter.
go.
But yeah, there's no weight classes, and men and women fight against each other sometimes too in tournaments, as long as it's agreed upon.
Yeah.
Generally, there's a men's class and a women's class, but at certain fights that aren't in part of the certain organizations, I mean, I fought Heather Sanner and she beat me in sword buckler last year. Like
Nice.
she's gone. She was just in Denmark fighting over there for that league's world championship. So like she's a really good fighter. You know,
Nice.
I fought a handful of women and giant men and little men. Like it's everybody fights. Like that's just how it works. Like the only time it's really stringent is like when there's money involved, like in the AMMA, like they try and keep it legit, and like there's sports sanctions you got to deal with the state and things like that. So that is where the weight classes come in. But generally, you fight whoever's in front of you.
Okay.
So this is interesting. So Ron Hess asked, when are you going to come on Caveman's Corner? And Raymond
Arias, I don't know.
Arias, you guys would have fun. I'm actually chatting with Jeff Dens, who is Captain Caveman. I'm pretty sure that's his podcast.
That's funny.
And if he says something, I might bring him on board real quick and go, hey, you want to come on the show for a minute? And, see this, but he used to train out of my gym when Primo used to teach MMA there. Let me see. And let me go. Oh, wait. Oh, it's open weight divisions. Yep. Yeah. No, we already talked about that. All right. Here we go. Is there a group of weapon vendors which caters to these kinds of fighters? Where do you get your kit?
So, like I said, I wanted to fight and I wanted to get into it as fast as possible. So I spent a little bit more money than you necessarily have to, but I went to medievalextreme.com. They're like a middleman. It's a guy over in Europe. He knows a bunch of armors. He's got a bunch of kits. You can buy everything you need right off the rack. You just send your measurements in and he finds the pieces or gets them made to your specifications. There's some people in the United States they're starting to get involved with it and sell their own armor, mostly weapons you can get in the US pretty easy. But the armor itself takes a little more skill to make because it's, shaped to the body and things. People are making the shin pieces a lot, and brigs are pretty easy to make. But like shoulders and helmets, especially helmets, pretty much everybody goes to Europe because those guys are the best, and you need to protect your head. Like my helmet weighs 15 pounds. I think it's 3 millimeters on top and 2 millimeters on the side.
Wow.
I've got concussion foam in it with a cotton liner. Like I take shots to the head and it rings, but I know I'm safe. But
Do you wear ear protection while you're doing that?
No, There's no ear holes, so it's just cotton and concussion foam pushing against my ears.
Well, I was just wondering, because that impact, it's a lot of noise right up in your ear, and
it's not that loud, to be perfectly honest. Some people say it's really loud, but in my helmet, for me, it's not. It doesn't bother me that much. But then again, I also work with, loud power tools and things.
Sure.
But
along that same lines of what Chris was asking, if somebody were to try to get into this, how would they get into this? It's not just the kit, right? You got to find groups and people they can ease. Maybe you want to ease in, maybe you want to jump in. You jumped in, but maybe not everyone wants to do that.
Well, I did train for a year before I bought armor, because one, I was waiting for the money to come in, and two, I was rehabbing from my accident.
True.
So I did have like a year to like build up and do everything. But yeah, ideally, if you are just getting into the sport, you ideally want to find somebody local that you can train with. If you have a team, there's big teams all over the country. I unfortunately have to go to Rochester or Toronto, which is a big team, but that's a full day trip if I want to train out there. And then, start that by doing soft kit. Like we train in hockey pads or some of the stuff you guys use when you do a little more live stick fighting.
Okay.
And, just get used to it, because at least from my experience, especially when I had my martial arts school, my biggest issue with retaining students was people did not like getting hit.
Right.
So you kind of got to get hit if you're going to be in a combat sport.
Right.
So if you don't like being hit, figure that out first. And then if you don't mind it, then you can start moving up. Like when I trained out in Rochester for the first time, I had my longsword. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like a month in, and I caught Mike in the head, like just a good shot, right? And he stood back, smiled, and giggled. And I'm like, oh, we can fight. Like, you're my people. I can train with you.
Nice.
But not everybody's like that, and that's fine.
No,
that's what the SEA for is. That's what HEMA's for. That's the beautiful thing about this sport and martial arts, is that there's something for everybody. You don't have to do the most extreme version of the sport. You don't have to train. You don't have to compete in MMA to train MMA. Like, you can do it white collar. Like, you don't have to do down dirty blue collar fighting like I do. Like that's the beauty of it. Just go out and train, figure out what you like, and then follow that path. Like, there's a way for everybody to get involved.
That's a beautiful message, especially for someone who is doing this extreme stuff. Because a lot of people think that, if you're not doing what they're doing, they look down on you. And that's not true with somebody with the right attitude. And I think that, like I said, is a beautiful message. So thanks for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I train. Like, everybody's like, hey, you have to like beat the crap out of each other. I mean, you guys have been in training sessions where, especially if you're doing locks or joint manipulation, people just go too hard, too fast. Right. And then you hurt your partner or you hurt yourself, and then you can't train anymore. It's like, light training is still training. Teaching is still training. So like, I'll go to events, and when I'm not competing, I'm talking to the other fighters, and I'm trying to coach them and asking them questions. How did they feel? Like, did this work? How does this? It's all training. Like, and find what you like and just do that. There's a martial art and a sport for everybody. Just figure out what you like and do that. Like, don't compare yourself to other people. That's
perfect. That's great. I have a saying on those, because my sayings. So this one is saying, what's the best martial art in the world? The one that you do. Do it. The one that you do.
Yeah. And for me, I just like to test myself. I've always gone into the most extreme versions of everything. I jump head first. And one of my main goals, once I realized I was kind of decent at this sport, was like, what can I do in armor? Because I was watching a lot of guys, like I said, coming up from Renaissance Fairs or HEMA or other stuff, and they weren't as athletic as I knew I was outside of armor. And I was like to myself, let me take this big heavy kit and optimize my body and my skills to show people that it's not just two guys or two girls running at each other and with no skill punching sword fighting. Like, there's actual athleticism, techniques, skills, gameplay that are involved, and how can we showcase that the best? So yes, like on my website, I say it right there. Like, winning is cool, but my goal is just to be the toughest fighter and to show the most. If somebody beats me, I want to be their toughest win.
Perfect.
Like, I don't want to be somebody that they stand across from and like, hey, this is going to be an easy fight. It's like, no, I'm coming at you with everything. I'm going to make you work. And I hope you do the same.
Right. You want to know that you both were there for real.
Yeah.
So what
you don't have
website?
to do that. You could just go do soft kit. Go do soft kit. It's super fun. I do it all the time.
So what is your website? I want to put it on the.
It's my last name, HARTKE athletics.com.
No punctuation or anything.
Oh, just
So,
HartkeAthletics.com.
HartkeAthletics.com. Okay, I'm going to put that in there. If it
Yeah, and I
accepts
just launched it this year.
Okay.
The goal is at first to sell a little bit of merch because most of the tournaments I do, I have to pay to play. I only get a little bit of money when I fight in the cage, and it basically offsets cost.
Sure.
But we're all paying to play. Like there's no big, unless you are cool enough to figure out how to get sponsors that pay you money, which very few people have. We're all paying to play. So I thought it would be a cool idea to have my own gear to sell if I have fans, and I have some fans now that have bought it, which is awesome. I never thought that would happen.
Right.
And then I have a lofty goal of putting other fighters on the website with their own gear.
Oh, nice.
So fans can find, regardless of the league or organization or anything, they can find their favorite fighter, support them at any event that they go to. So ideally, I'd have a handful of fighters on the website that are fairly popular or involved with the sport, and you could go see where they're fighting next. So maybe if they're close, you can go see the event with people you know that you've been following. It's kind of like a for us, by us, but fighter oriented.
Well, here's a question. Any chance this coming to Buffalo?
It's been rumored. There's a lot of logistics
involved.
involved.
A match.
I know that one organization, I'm not going to speak too much because I don't know. I'm just talking about rumors. But I've had, can you guys still hear me?
I'm here. Yep. Sometimes it glitches
I
every
can't
once in
hear
a while.
you.
We can hear you.
Yep.
What happened?
Hold on.
Hey, Tim, can you post his website? Because I tried posting and it's not showing up.
Let me do this here.
Where did I go?
Okay, you can hear me, right, Ty?
Yeah, I can hear you. He's still trying to figure out stuff, I think.
Am I back?
I hear you. We still hear you. I don't think he can hear us.
I go.
I just Facebook messaged him.
Okay.
Hopefully he'll see that.
But yeah, I tried posting his website, but
I can't hear you. So if you can hear me, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, and I tried posting his website, it wouldn't show up. So if somebody could post it, that would be nice.
All right. I guess the headphones aren't working. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I just have to do it through the speakers instead of the
Yeah.
headphones.
We heard you the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah, I figured because it was using the computer, but I couldn't hear you because I had the sound down.
Okay.
Where did we leave off?
I'm looking. So you're Will Hartke. Oh, is it Hartke or
HartkeAthletics.com?
Hartke.
Yeah, it's
okay,
HartkeAthletics.com.
I'm just putting it up right now so I can.
Yeah, Tim's got me blocked, so I can't post it. Must be the
That's
case.
right. This is the first time I've done anything like this, so something was bound to go wrong.
And Ben says he can hear you as well. So that's good. And this is not vodka.
Damn. All right, here we go. Is there a place just to make? You got sponsorships, like just donations in general. Someone wants to send you $10. Do you have an option to do that?
No, because I don't like donations. That's just my personal preference. If you wanted to give me money, I'm going to give you something for it. So that's why I sell merch. Buy a shirt or a hat.
Well, all the people watching you on the YouTube, you're giving them blood and pain and sweat and tears. So.
Yeah, and the organization compensates me a little bit, so it's a fair trade.
There you go.
And they give me exposure.
Hartke Athletics. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Sponsorship. Oh, look at that.
There you go. New school look. All right. I'm still stuck on old school. I should probably change that.
Well, if you need help, my designer, Linda Conlon, she did all that. I did none of it.
Okay, nice. I hand-coded mine back in the 90s, so that's how it looks. Just like it was hand-coded in the 90s.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Yep, that's cool.
I tried doing it, and I was like, I need somebody to do this. I got too much going on. I can't figure out this new program right now.
I get it.
Looks nice.
I spent all day on my Shopify as I've been paying for it for a couple of months, and I haven't done anything with it. I'm like, God damn it. And it took me the whole day to get things working. And I'm like, I don't have time for that shit.
as we've sort of changed gears and we went through, your path coming up and some of your observations and things like that, some questions that we had, I wanted to give you a chance, Will, is, I don't know if you had any expectations for this or not, or if you realized some of the stories you wanted to tell, but I wanted to say if there's anything you wanted to make sure we covered, whether it's a story or whether, hey, this is a thing I learned, or just something I wanted to make sure to say. If anything has popped up like that, here's your time.
No, I think I pretty much covered all the things that I wanted to make sure. Like, obviously, I got to plug the website. I got to afford gas to get to all these places. Like, I think I wrote it down at one point, but I've been to like 10 states this year already, and Romania and Hungary. Like, I'm just all over the place, and gas is insane. I bought a new car just for this sport back in October, and I've got 25,000 miles on it.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. Like, it was a little more than I anticipated, but I was so focused because like Tim had brought up, I did well enough and I played the game well enough that I got named the North American longsword champion for the one league, which qualified me to go to the International Invitational this past 4th of July in Romania. Nice. And doing that, I was nervous, like, to say the least. Like, I'm going to go fight guys that are doing the sport where it was basically originated. So I was just going to every tournament to get as much practice and doing everything I could. And I was just focused on that. So I traveled a lot. It was like every other weekend. Like,
I caught pieces of it, and it was inspiring to how dedicated and how much you were getting out there doing all that work. So that was cool. Inspiring, I think, for real.
It's when you don't have a local team, like, that's what you got to do, unfortunately, or start a team. And I tell people, I'm like, I had a gym, I had a school, and I've teased the idea of doing it again, but that's a whole job of trying to be, or even being like a captain of a team or something like that, like dealing with people. And I don't say that in a negative way, but like, people are people. And I get to fly solo, and people in the sport know this about me. And it's not because of any negative reasons. It's just, it's easier to move when I'm by myself. Like, I can get in and out of hotels and cities. And like, if I need to leave at this time, I can just make sure I go. I'm not accountable to anybody else. Like, my time is very short, and I need to do the things I need to do in a window. So
no, that's good. You're taking care of you. So what then is next? What are your next set of goals or things you want to try, or what with this venture?
Right now I'm pretty focused on the AMMA. I'm still going to do the other leagues and stuff. Maybe I'll make it to Worlds next year somehow. I don't know. But definitely focusing on the cage fights. That's the hardest thing for me right now. Like, it would be cage fights is the hardest, longsword second hardest, and then like the 5 versus 5 is probably the easiest. Just as far as like physicality. Like,
well, and you don't get to practice the cage fights is the one you get to practice the least, right? Unless you get out there.
Yeah, or like, well, technically the 5 versus 5, because I can't find 5 people to train with. Like,
you don't just wander around ne'er-do-well parts of the city with your sword and just.
No, I've gotten in trouble. But yeah, so like, I'm
focused about my first teacher.
Yeah, I'm focused on the cage fights. I'm looking forward to some of the bigger tournaments next year. I still want to be competitive in longsword and keep doing that. Like, I find that duel very rewarding. Just because I wasn't good at it, and then I got good at it, and then I'm still not that great at it. Like, I think I have, and this sounds, don't take it negatively, I've only got like 2 gold medals this year in longsword, which is absurd, but I know, but it kind of bothers me because like it's like defending champ, and then I'm not winning, and it's like, but my focus is elsewhere, and then the competition skyrocketed. Like, everybody I fought the previous year just was like, not this year, dude. And then they just stepped it up. And then there's new people coming in the sport, and a lot of younger people coming in the sport because people like, so I'm in my mid to late 30s, so I can afford it, I guess. But now people like me, if I say go and optimize into a titanium or dueling kit or whatever, now I have a whole other kit that I can loan a younger person to get training. And there's people with money, or people that have been doing the sport longer, or bigger teams that have loaner kits that are getting younger and more athletic people into the sport.
Nice.
And it's increasing the competition. Like
Good.
the guy I lost to in Detroit, my first pro fight, was 23 years old.
Yeah.
And he earned that win. Like
Nice.
he fights with one of the better teams in the country, one of the bigger teams, and that Daniel Eddy fight, that's one of his training partners. So he's been doing really well. But I looked at it afterwards in the hotel when I was studying. I didn't realize he was over 10 years younger than me. Like I just didn't. So it was cool that I kept it close. It was awesome.
I'm glad you said your age, because I'm pretty sure people wouldn't have guessed you're in your middle 30s or whatever.
Yeah, it was a pretty stellar birthday last weekend. So I had the fight on the 25th.
Well, happy birthday.
Yeah. I turned 37.
Nice. Okay.
I've been doing this about 2.5 years now. I've been doing martial arts since 2010. But yeah, so the 25th was my first pro fight debut, my second main event fight that week, because that was the main event in Pittsburgh the week before. But it was awesome because I woke up and I was in Detroit and Ford had Red Bull there. So I got to see the F1 race. I'm going to make a post about it. I've been lazy about it because my phone's full and whatever. But I got to see the F1 racers. I got to see, the super trucks and the super bikes and, different race cars all afternoon, and almost was late to the fighter meeting. And then I got to do the fight and, help the other fighters. And we were first time in Detroit, and a lot of my favorite fighters are from Detroit. And then we also got surprised by Chuck Liddell. He was there. So I got to meet Chuck Liddell. It's actually a funny story. Everybody's like freaking out, right? Because it's Chuck Liddell. And then some of the guys aren't freaking out because they have no idea what the MMA fighters are. So I'm trying to figure out who's gushing and who's not. And I'm walking in the back, getting ready, warmed up. And some guy runs in and he's like, "Hey, is this the way to the stage?" I'm like, "No, this is the way to the entrance." And it's Chuck Liddell and his guys.
Okay.
I'm like, "All right, no, come this way." And I walk him out to the cage where he was supposed to go. And then in the back room, someone's like, "Hey, has anybody seen Chuck Liddell?" I was like, "Yeah, I just helped him to the cage. Like he was lost." So it was a cool little experience. And then I got a picture with him later. But yeah, so
that's cool.
It was a big day. It was a big day on top of a big month of fighting and traveling to Europe for the first time and fighting at the International Invitational and going against some of the best fighters in the world.
That's
and
awesome.
Just gaining that experience and fighting with a ragtag team of guys. So like with the war and stuff, like some of the teams that were supposed to go dropped. And the organization reached out to some of us duelists, and we put a 5-versus-5 team, a melee team together. And we ended up, for the plot, we ended up fighting one of the UK teams on the 4th of July and beating them. So that was super fun.
Nice.
But to be fair, the other UK team did beat us.
Sure.
For a bunch of duelists that got together and just put a team together, I mean, we got silver. So I got a medal there, and then I figured out a way to pull out a bronze and longsword. So
that is awesome.
2-medal win and at an international invitational is, I can't complain. I didn't even think I was going to win or a single fight, especially after feeling the first one. I was like, man, I'm way out of my league. So even just to pull in a medal was exciting. And then I was the only American with 2 medals, or American male. One of the American females had 2 medals.
Oh, good deal. Well, I mean, and it's an interesting perspective because you just pointed out that you've only been doing this stuff for 2.5 years. You just said.
Yeah.
That's crazy to be that successful. So I'm looking for lots of cool stuff as long as you got the energy and the ability, right? Because this is probably very draining to get out there and make all of these things.
I mean, the cool thing about the armor is that yes, it's exhausting, but I mean, if you stay in shape, you can do it. Ronan, that I mentioned earlier, I believe he's still the champion for AMMA and light heavyweight. I could be wrong about the division, but he's in his 50s.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and there's other fighters that are in their 40s and 50s that are contenders. Like they've got the tenacity, they've been doing it long enough, and yeah, they just have the work ethic. And then as long as you're willing to put it on, like you've got a shot. Like that's the fight game. It's anybody's game at any point.
Yep. Very cool. So, Tim, I think I've run out of questions right now. We didn't see any more. Oh, Benjamin has a question. Are there age limits for starting if somebody was to start getting into this? Do they have age divisions or age limits?
Not at the top end. Like I saw some guy at a tournament. He had to be like in his 70s. He did not do well, but he had fun.
Yeah, good.
But I mean, he got out there, so we were all excited for him. Yeah. But I think mostly you got to be 18 with most insurances. You know what I mean? Like legal stuff. People fight younger than that. But also, you don't want to put armor on unless you know somebody that's similar in size. Like, don't go buy armor if you're 16.
Right, because you're going to grow out of it.
Yeah, your body's going to change. It's not like you're going to go to Walmart and get a new T-shirt. Like,
right.
you're going to be out of luck. So wait till your body's finished growing, anticipate that, or if you know you have an avenue, then maybe. But yeah, I think 18 is probably when people really start fighting in armor.
My body hasn't finished growing yet, and I'm 61.
Same. My body, like people have noticed, they're like, wow, your shoulders look different. It's like, because I'm lifting steel all the time.
Right.
So I'm not doing any different workouts. I'm using my shoulders differently. So my body comp has changed over the last 2 years, which I can't complain about. Like, it's a good way. So.
Well, and you said you've also always been in fitness and that stuff too. Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't change the way I work out. I'm doing something else. So my body is.
Well, that's a good thing about bodies, right? If you give them a chance, they'll adapt.
Oh, yeah. So like on that topic, which we never even talked about, it's really hot in armor.
Right.
Like
that makes sense.
We are all sweating putting it on, let alone fighting in it. So a lot of things I do to stay in shape is like, it's 85 degrees outside today, and I'll go for a 5K run in sweats. Like, I don't use air conditioning anymore. All of us do it to some extent, but like my heat conditioning is getting up there. Like for the first time ever, I was outside in 80-degree heat in the sun. I was cold. I felt like a teenage girl. I'm like, man, I need a sweater. Like, this is weird. But then I was I fight in an oven all the time. Like,
that's interesting. Well, I got another point for you. So something I found out when I was eating better and I was very, very low carb, I found out that my cold and heat sensitivity was vastly improved. Basically, wide swings of temperature didn't bother me at all, whether it was hot or cold. That was on really low carb. Maybe it's because you're burning fat for fuel, or I'm not sure why.
Could be. I mean, it's interesting. I'll test it out.
Yeah, I don't know what you eat, or I don't even know how you eat stuff.
Pretty protein heavy.
Yeah, obviously me too. But now I do have a sweet tooth, so that always comes back unless I'm being really good.
Yeah, but yeah, for the most part, you're wearing a moving blanket.
Yep.
As a jacket, a moving blanket as pants, a moving blanket over your head, and then you're putting steel on top of that. So it's warm.
Yeah, no doubt. Cool. All right, what else we got for us, Datu?
I think that's about it for Will. I mean,
Will's done.
We talked a lot. We did a lot of good stuff. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks for that. You shared a lot of good stuff.
And it's completely outside.
Yep.
Box,
but it's interesting.
Yes. I didn't want to take part of this as much because Will and I have been training together for so long, and I don't want to direct this into it's all because you train with me. I wanted Ty to take the conversation. And the thing is, we've done a lot of cross-pollination. It's a two-way street, but Will has done the work. There's no questions asked. And we talked about this. He mentioned the comment before about the athleticism and stuff of that nature. This is when I was in the SCA. I looked at a lot of different things, and he talked about geeks versus athletes. Our group was all geeks, at least on the fencing side. And a couple guys did the heavy arms and they were more athletic, but I was probably the most athletic person there. And, it's different when it's different to see when you've got athletes or athletic people doing what you're trying to do versus someone who's just, they've got experience, but they don't have the matching athleticism. And I gotta say, it's Will is just a beast and a machine when he comes to doing this stuff. And I remember the first time he told me about this, I'm like, I'm just gonna outlast everybody. I'm gonna outscore them. Here, I figured out here's how I score points. This is what the rules are, and I'm just gonna do what I got to do. And he told me what he was gonna do, and he did it. Simple as that. It was a Billy Jack moment.
There you go.
Put this foot up your side of your head. Not a damn thing you do about it. Okay, right off the bat, we've got same questions. Yeah, okay. We have Margarita. Okay. But at the end of the day, Will is just done a great job, and is a phenomenal ambassador for our region. He's the only one doing this, and the cool thing is that we're in a region that you wouldn't expect to see this, although we are a hockey town, so you might. But he's the only one in Buffalo doing this, and he's playing on the international level, which is just amazing. So listen, we've got the URL down here. Will does not take donations. but he will sell swag because he doesn't want to take your money if you're not getting something back. Although I bet you if you reached out to him specifically and wanted to make a cash donation, he can put a package together to send you back. So it makes him feel good, because, but at the end of the day, Will is doing this for the most part out of his own pocket. So, any help is a good thing. Once again,
and you can sponsor him if you want to.
Right. Oh yeah, I could always use sponsors.
Let's see, so right now, here we go. HartkeAthletics.com. There it is. Check it out. And then do you have a Facebook page or anything? Instagram and all this?
I really need to get better with it, but yeah, my Instagram is Will Hartke 27.
Okay.
It's pretty easy to find. I'm in armor. If there's another guy with that handle, he's not in armor.
Yeah. Because he's different than the other 26 Will Hartke.
Well, that's how I signed my name, because I can never read signatures. It always bothered me, so I always just do my initials with my number next to it, because then everyone's like, "Oh, that's going to be Will's," and that picked up. Somebody else started doing it, and I'm sure other people are going to start doing that too.
Look at that. Seeing 3 passionate men, each excelling in their own sport, in one frame, truly inspiring. This feels like the making of history, or history in the making.
And we didn't even pay her.
Don't encourage our watchers. They're going to watch money from us.
There you go. So if someone sponsors you, like me, right, you'll wear a Thai's Kung Fu kind of brassiere, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. And I know that you're not bluffing because you have a sense of humor. So
well, he didn't say the thong, so that's a good thing, because no one wants to wear that. No one wants to.
No, this has been really good, and I appreciate all the answers and talking, because Will and I have known each other for a number of years, not as long as you two, but we never really sat down and talked this long. So
yeah,
this has been nice.
Yeah, and if you go to my Instagram, like I said, I don't post a whole lot, but I do try to do the reels, because I'm not as old as you guys, but I still am a little bit older when it comes to the internet. So I use it more as like a vlog. So I try and I'm not trying to be an influencer of any kind, but I'll share my day to day. I've been traveling for the last month, and I finally got the meal prep yesterday. I put that on there. If I do a cool little workout, I'll put that on there, or I'll show the garden that I'm working on. It's like a behind the scenes type thing with any. I don't want to say I'm a star, but you know what I mean? Like when you follow an athlete or a movie star or something, it's cool to see what they're doing. And people have mentioned that to me, and that's why I continue to do it.
Perfect. No,
I don't care. To be perfectly honest, I don't want to be on the internet. I don't even want to be I'm forced to be. So I'm just trying to make the best of it and do what people like. And hopefully I'm someone that's at the forefront of a growing sport, and what I'm doing and others are doing is going to be the foundation for these new people coming through, and they're going to accelerate it way past what we can do.
Awesome.
And I'm just looking to be have my part documented, so I don't get forgotten. I get forgotten all the time. That's why I started going blue. It's a running joke in the circles of Boohurt. If I win, they give somebody else the medal sometimes. It's happened more than once. It's an ongoing joke. It's been happening my whole life. I get mistaken for other people. I was talking with some of the higher ups at one of the organizations, and I'm like, I'm wearing all blue with my symbol on it, and somebody was like, "Where's Will?" I'm like, "I'm right here, my guy." It's just something that's part of my life, I guess. I don't know. No matter how much I color coordinate or make myself known,
you'd be a good spy then. So we mentioned your Instagram. We mentioned that your website. Are you on Facebook? Can people get a hold of you there, or email, or anything else you want to share, just in case people want to?
Facebook, I only use to keep in touch with the organizations and make sure for dates and things like that. So
sure,
I'm not usually on there. And I try to keep my Facebook just for fighters, because they tell me when the tournaments are and stuff like that. So
that makes sense.
I won't do a whole lot with it.
So I would say go. You just want to look him up on Instagram or catch those reels and see which fights he's in, or catch his website, contact him through there.
Yeah, and I try whenever there's a tournament, I try to post it, because it's hard to find out, and they're all over the country.
Okay.
World, really, but all over the country. There's something going on every weekend somewhere.
The IG has only 2 posts. I don't know. I was just there. I mean, According to, sorry, I didn't follow the IG. Oh, Kara, there we go.
Kara, nice. Good to see you, ma'am. Being in MA, right near Jay and the Knights Hall, and seeing their armored combat fights, he is so passionate about it and gets you interested when you see him and his students show their stuff. Great job, Will. Good luck with ongoing work. That's awesome. No, Kara is awesome.
Yeah, and then okay.
So what was the Instagram account again?
I'm gonna pull it up right now.
Will Hartke 27. I think she didn't follow it, so she only saw like 2 posts, and then once she followed,
there's plenty there.
More.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I usually post when I got stuff going on with my sponsors, and
right here.
You guys post stuff. I try to put it on there. Or
there's plenty of stuff on there, but you need to be following at times to see this stuff. I know this axe well. I know that sword very well.
Yeah, that's when it was new.
Yeah.
Is it pretty scarred up now?
Yeah, I've retaped it a few times.
Okay.
You actually have to keep it, like on the bigger tournaments, you have to keep it looking nice, but for the smaller tournaments, you can get away with it being a little raggy.
Okay.
But
now I know the edges are, rounded, but do they get bunged up pretty much? You have to deburr them or something? Okay.
So like after every tournament, the cage fight's not so much, but definitely after a longsword tournament, I have to take my longsword and file it and smooth it out and make sure there's nothing sharp that could catch or cut. Like that's part of the rules is it has to be smooth. My axe doesn't get messed up too much because it's usually hitting somebody. Like it's not used as defense. It's usually what messes up the sword is a defensive action.
Okay.
Offense usually doesn't do a whole lot. But yeah, I bring my grinder and everything, right? And you got to keep it oiled and everything because you can't have rust on it. It's dangerous. It gets in people's eyes, compromises the sword. It could break. Swords break all the time. I've broken swords. Not mine, other people's, luckily.
Mm.
But it got me nervous enough that I bought 2 more just as a backup.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which luckily I haven't broken one yet. I've bent them. I bend them all the time. It's funny. Like people make fun of me all the time. I actually have a guy in my corner when my team is there. When I do longsword, Kenny comes over and he straightens my sword in between matches. Because it'll get caught on people's tabards and I'll be moving and it kind of just bends.
But the swords are spring steel, is that what you said?
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to bend. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So what's
been going at it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's probably that time. So let's wrap things up. But I tell you, I think this is probably Will's proudest moment for armored combat right here. This is probably
a good way to end.
There we go. Probably the best thing. Got a knight in shining armor. Filipino martial arts. All the Philippines, 7,000+ islands. What's common with all of them? They all have water. This is the kryptonite of all knights in armor, keeping their things from rusting and going. And where are you think you're going? Get over here, Will. Will, get over here.
Like a Scooby-Doo episode.
Hours later.
Will! Well, I think you get the point. Make sure you follow the document. Get over here!
I didn't see that one.
Probably the biggest moment of his career right there. Will and I actually did a series of those. That's on YouTube.
Yeah.
That
one was my second one that I was the most nervous. So that one, I started running for that first take, and I wasn't sure I was going to stop before his mirrors. I went full tilt. I want to make it look good, and I was like, "Oh crap, I got to slow down."
See, I got to go too far back to look at these, but I can find them in YouTube easy. That skit did 3,800 on YouTube, but I know it probably did. A couple of the ones that we did were over 1 million views on Instagram and Facebook each. We've had some really fun ones. We had thought about my magnetic personality, or
that one made me the most nervous
because I had to throw the sword to me. Oh yeah, so he's on top of me. And I'm like, I think this thing's sharper than I thought it was. I think he just pierced my nipple. Oh my goodness. So, but Will is very much like us. We take what we do seriously, but we don't take ourselves too seriously, and we have a lot of tongue-in-cheek moments, All right, so we'll wrap this up here. Let's see. So tomorrow I decide to jump in. What will a good first what will it cost to get them going approximately?
I tell people if you want to get into it, anticipate spending $5,000. You can
5K.
do it
All
for
right.
less. You can absolutely do it for less, but there's X factors. Like you're going to buy the armor, then you got to buy a repair kit, then you got to buy maintenance stuff. You got to buy the undergarment that the armor attaches to. You got to buy shoes. You got to buy weapons. You got to buy a thing to carry the weapons. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of little things that go into it. So you can do it for a couple grand, or if you can find loaner, free. But
Well, yeah, there we go too.
Several $1,000s. I think the medieval extreme kits are running about $3,000 right now, and then it's going to get shipped to you, and then you got to pay the tariff, which is dumb. But
that was funny.
X factor cost. You know what I mean?
You run pretty fast on that.
I was noticing that.
Or maybe you saw about me, didn't think I could run that fast. Well, listen. Well, then there's also probably people coming in and going out. There might be gear available, but I mean, finding pieces that are set that someone's willing to get rid of,
that fit you well enough.
That fit you well, because like someone might be able to find used gear, but what are the odds on that happening on a regular basis? You'd pretty much have to probably be in the know and know someone's going to upgrade, and maybe the person might upgrade, but doesn't mean they're going to get rid of the extra stuff because it is a good backup system in case something happens with the good gear. So, and it's not like all the other stuff that we do in martial arts. Like when I buy a gi, I don't give away my old uniform. I mean, but although I've gifted away a whole bunch of uniforms because I buy a bunch of them. Oh, I don't like these. I wear them. Okay. And I give them away because I've washed them and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, well, I got it at wholesale, so it's not as big of a deal. It wasn't what I thought it was, blah, 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 but obviously this is a higher end thing, so people probably hold on to it more. But so you're saying like 3 to 5K is a good ballpark figure.
I'd say if you anticipate that, you won't be disappointed.
There you go.
Like you don't go into it thinking I'm going to spend $1,200 and then $3-4 grand later you're like crap.
Well, I tell you what, I was talking to a friend of mine who does HEMA, who actually had me do. He had a. So I do lightsaber demonstrations for the sticks because I got I bought I got a new company I'm dealing with, but I was dealing with Ultra Sabers because we wanted to do nighttime demos with the sticks. We used to build our own glow sticks, and it just didn't work out. I looked at a bunch of the communities. The one that had it was the lightsaber community. I get that, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, and you got a new follower, by the way. Here we go. She's your latest follower. Well, everyone counts there. But so lo and behold, now after I got all this stuff, I start getting invitations. All right, my YouTube blows up showing me lightsaber combat, and one happens to be by Mr. Wolf down in Ohio. So I'm down there for a seminar. I go down and play with those guys, and it happens to be a HEMA school that also does lightsaber combat. And I like doing lightsaber combat because it's a hell of a lot cheaper than kendo, but it's not too much different from it. Well, it is, but it's in the same vein. And it's like, hey, tell me about I have all the gear to do both. So they go, hey, you want to do some saber fighting and stuff like that? Sure. So I they gave me some steel. I'm swinging back and forth. I'm like, I'm thinking about a long sword. And then my friend Tom goes, yeah, I got a long sword. It's a nice introductory one. I can let it go for $500. And I'm thinking, $500 for a sword? Now, I'm used to rattan. Well, we're in the Philippines when we can pick it up for $1 a piece. When I'm here, it's more because I got to import stuff and I make my own sticks. But I don't pay $500 for one piece. I don't have a knife that I bought that's $500. And I don't think any of the swords that I sell are even $500. But man, that stuff can add up real, real quick. So to be honest with you, I expected more. I mean, Mr. Kimura, the guy who teaches Shurji Kempo out of my school, is also a kendo instructor, and he tells me he's got 2 students, one with a $10,000 suit and another with 15. And I'm not saying just the suit, everything like graphite swords, because the bamboo swords break too easy. So I mean, he goes, the sword case alone is $200. Like, really? And just keeps adding up. So, and a lot of little stuff adds up. Like anything, you go to play hockey. Oh, the skates alone are $300 for used ones. So this is not for the weak of heart. Not the weak of Hartke. But listen, so you've got the URLs. Go check out Will on Instagram. Go check him out on his website, which is Hartke Athletics. You all need to get a hold of him, and you can't find him. Reach out to me. I'll hook you all up. Will's an easy person to get a hold of. And if you're having some problems connecting, that's not a problem. Always looking, buy some swag, help him out. Look for sponsorship if that works as well. And then we'll definitely keep everyone in the loop as far as if Will's got something coming up, we'll definitely put it up there. We'll just make sure you let us know, and we'll give you a shout out. I have an idea for next week's show. Now that we're going to wrap things up, I'm thinking why the UFC isn't real. One of my videos that blows up, but if I can get Jeff I might get Jeff Dens to come on with us. He's an MMA fighter, or he's a coach now, and we're chatting back and forth. Which they might reach out to you, Will, about being on the show. So I was just talking to him about Ron suggesting you being on the show. So who's local, and maybe we'll make something happen.
Fun.
So and Will, okay, November 7th, MartialCon in Buffalo. Will is one of our guests at that. And hopefully, if he's got one or two of his brothers and sisters in arms, we might be able to have some demos going on while things are going on. So martial arts tournament mixed with a convention, MartialCon, have a little cosplay. I've got the Northridge going to be there. That's the local Star Wars group. Will, you cannot beat them up. That's not capable. I know you're capable. Just don't sword fight them, please. Don't. Remember my
defense is defense.
I don't want them to try to use the force on you and things go sideways. It's not a DKI event. So, anyways, that's another story. All right, thanks you guys. It was interesting. Never known that existed. So hopefully, we'll get some views. And Will, next time you're talking to your peeps over there, if those guys ever want to come on the show and promote their organization, have them watch this show. If they want to be on, we'll be more than happy to bring them on, because a rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah, I got a couple guys that would probably do well. They've got a little more knowledge about like the authenticity and stuff like that, and history, and just different aspects that I'm not well versed on.
It's not a problem. You did great. Because we're really not all about that. We're about just having a good time and a good dialogue and sharing information as we got it. All right. So good luck in your next fight. And all the way from the Philippines, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Well, this is Dr. Tim and our friend Will and
GG time. Thanks, everyone. And thanks you, Will. That was a good discussion.
I appreciate it. I had a great time.
As usual, everybody, please stay safe, stay sane, and we'll see you soon.